This is a dance contest, not a crap contest, so...
Oh.
So when I get pissed off at something, you know, like having a fuse trip while working on unsaved script in WordPad and being like already 2,000 words into it, I've learned to channel my anger into stupidly large projects. In 2012, it was fursuit dancing because I was mad at my boyfriend. In 2020, it was Spyro speedrunning because I was mad at COVID. In 2023, it was YouTube because I was mad at pre-calc. I actually withdrew from that class, by the way. So what's this stupid project? So I'm going to watch all 500 or so fursuit dance competitions that have ever been run on my stream, all in chronological order. No, I'm not joking. I've already watched the first 12, starting with FWA 2008 and leaving off at CESFUR 2011, the first non-US fursuit dance competition, which is a baffling piece of trivia. This con had an attendance of 87, by the way. And in my watching of these competitions, I had something dawn on me.
But in just a few minutes, we're going to have a special event. It's the fursuit dance competition. And I believe this is the first of its kind.
There used to be this significant hype around the dance competition, and while it still is a marquee event of furry conventions now, it doesn't have the same vibe that it used to. And I think after having watched these early competitions, I now fully understand it, so much so that I wanted to make a short, and I wound up making a short essay about it. I've said many times on this channel that the fandom used to be blatantly cynical, like there were popular folks who were painfully aware of their own status, and some, not all, would flaunt that social status.
You're gonna be famous. I already am.
Which by proxy spread these rumors in the early 2010s of all dubbed popufurs being cliquey and being assholes, and being vain and obsessed with their own image, which, I mean, yeah, there is some merit to that. You don't want to, you know, piss away the image and status that you have, but you also don't want to be an asshole and alienate the people that care about you. But in my opinion, the reason for this and why it went away begins and ends with the influence of social media at furry conventions. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, social media weighed very little in the lives of the fandom while at conventions. Many folks did not have access to smartphones, and even if they did, their capability was usually quite primitive. Like, you could post a status on Twitter or text a friend, but that's about as advanced as it would get for most folks. So how did folks come into popularity then? Well, it was usually in a small handful of ways. Have an iconic fursuit, which of course spawned the eventual rumors that the furry fandom is pay to win, but I don't really think it is, especially not as much as it used to be. Perform in the Anthrocon Masquerade or some major furry convention's variety show, or eventually perform in the dance competition. I mean, there were other avenues to do this as well, such as music or art, but these were the main three in terms of a convention context. But usually it was some combination of the first one plus one of the other two. This even became a meme back in the early 2010s. Why does everybody in the fandom have to be a dancer or a DJ? But when social media was still largely unassuming and benign, unlike today, where it's a complete dumpster fire every second.
Well, I'm sorry, I said dumpster fire? It's not. A dumpster fire is contained.
This popularity manifested itself in a phenomenon similar to idol culture, or, as I am so fond of referencing on this channel, the bond you create as a fan of your favorite NASCAR driver. Reason being, it was less personable, and therefore more like you were worshiping a hero of sorts. So you would attend one of these events and see, you know, those nice, cool fursuits on stage, and then, whoa, they can dance, or whoa, they're a great actor. And then the seed is planted in you as a fan, but you don't get that one-on-one interaction because you don't have really the ability to go on social media and just say, hi, I liked your performance, because it wasn't that ingrained into our society yet, especially not at furry conventions. We didn't live tweet from the convention quite as much as we do today. Now, as for the early dancer furs, a lot of this came upon them unexpectedly. The dance competition, especially the first two events of its kind at FWA and AC 2008, when they were just figuring out which direction to go with it.
A really good breakdancer, Mangusu!
With some growing pains attached, of course, generated significantly more draw than anticipated.
Everyone's been waiting for this. It is the fursuit dance competition at Anthrocon.
When at the end of the day, it was just a few friends and some of the early people they directly inspired with the show putting on a small showcase of their shows and craft. And this fully explains why the early dance competition felt cliquey. because it unintentionally was, and the few who ended up developing egos off this made the whole clique look bad, even though most of them were just having fun with it. But think about that. Folks in the fandom, especially newer furs, are looking for that spark of inspiration. And some of these folks would see the crowd that the so-called popufurs would draw, and they would take direct inspiration from that. They wanted to have their moment in that spotlight, that level of attention. And everyone seemed to want to chase that level of fame in an almost cartoonish way, where everybody online became really hollow in a sense once the social media kick kind of kicked off within the fandom. Maybe they hadn't had it in the past, and this was their opportunity. And you know what? Forget chasing being a celebrity. It felt a lot easier to try to become one in the furry fandom. And as some of those folks would flourish into their own moments, so would social media. And with it came the fever pitch of the popufur era, where metrics and social status were at their most invaluable, and young, impressionable people like me wanted to chase it. This explains so much. And I learned all this just from, being there all those years ago, from where things started to shift into the social media era, but also from watching the first 12 fursuit dance competitions through that lens of innocence, where nobody knew exactly what this would become and what effects it would have on our fandom culture. But you think I'm complaining about this lore dump? Absolutely not. I live for finding out shit like this. So I originally planned this as a short, and it wound up being a full essay. So what do you guys think of this format? Do you guys want to see more like hybrid short/essays like this? Let me know down in the comments, and also feel free to drop a like on this video. Definitely subscribe to see more, and check out my Patreon if you feel compelled, ibolto7 on Patreon, or you could just become a member here, and you get to watch any of my long-form content drop like 2 days before anybody else gets to see it. So those are the perks there, but if you're not able to do that, I completely understand. Just like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please share across Twitter, even though I'm not on there, but any traction is good traction. I kind of feel like I had something to say here, so... But I'll see y'all next time. Take it wheezy.